As you can see, we're progressing with the design of our table napkin box. I've gone ahead and brought up the assembly so you can see where we're progressing and how we're progressing. At this time, we need to come back and design this back wall part, as you see right here. With the back wall part, that will complete the actual shape of our table napkin box, and it will also allow us to move forward with other parts as well. I've gone ahead and created a new file. It's called Part 7. And I'm going to go ahead and save it right now, so that way we'll know how to get to that file when we need it later to do the assembly. So we're going to go ahead and call this one right here. I'll put this in my folder, napkin box 2, and I'm going to call this, I'll highlight the word Part 7, I'll call this TNB underscore back underscore PART. And of course, I'm a big guy that likes to do his version control, so I'll go ahead and put that in as well. So I'll go ahead and save that file. Now, I've gone ahead and created this new file, but I need to do a little bit of house cleaning first of all. I'll come up here and I'll set my favorite background color to white, and I'll come back here and edit my units to make sure I'm at 4 decimal places. So I'll click on that, come down here to 4, I'll leave it alone on the angle dimension. I'll come up and set it here. And just in case I need to do time motion, I'll accept that as well. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and set ourselves normal to the back plane. So I'll click on front plane here, and it'll help me to go normal to the front plane, which will in essence be the back plane that I'm actually creating for my part. So with that done, I'll go up here and I'll select center line. I'll select vertical, infinite, and I'll click on the red datum as you see here. And as with the other parts before, I'll go ahead and add a horizontal piece to this as well. And I'll come up and add another horizontal center line up here as well. Check this off, check that off, and immediately right mouse click and go to Smart Dimension. From here, I'll go ahead and I'll create the distance, which is 4 inches on the height of our box. Put that in. So it gives us the working parameters and how we're going to create our part. Now, check that off. Since I'm still in Sketch, I'll go ahead and go to the Place Line command. I'll start here, the datum, and I'll come across to about right there. I've got to make 4 fingers on this particular part, as you're seeing here. Always trying to keep a little bit under the size that I'm working with. Kind of messed up there. I'll come over here and go back to the center line I started with. Hit escape, and there we have our basic shape. So now, as with before in the other parts, I'll come up here and I'll set the dimension and the depth of the finger joint itself. Take that up to 1/4 inch, should be 0.25. And then I'll check that off and I'll go ahead and immediately add relations. I'll start with the first one that I dimensioned. And just go up the vertical here and grab all these finger joints, and we'll make all those equal as with before. Go ahead and accept that. Now what I'll do is I'll come in with Smart Dimension and I'll start dimensioning the actual joints themselves, the fingers themselves. It's about 1/2 inch. I do not have to dimension this last piece right here because we already set the dimension here to 4 inches, so that should be sufficient for this side of the design. So again, we'll go ahead and rebuild our document, or Control D, and then to save it, do Control S. So now that the document is saved, I'll go back to my sketch and right mouse click on it and edit the sketch. Sketch highlights, I'll roll out with my, zoom out with my middle button on my mouse. And I'll come over here and I'll do mirror entities. We will use a polygon to left mouse click and drag, and we'll highlight all those. And then we'll say mirror about, which will be the center line as you see here. Again, it previews in yellow, so you can see that that's your intended design that you're going to do your mirror entities. Check that off. And while I'm still in features, I can still in sketch, I can immediately go to features and do an extruded boss base. And when I do that, SolidWorks will rotate around and show me that it's only set to 1/10 of an inch. So I'll increase that to 0.25, which is the thickness of our wall. Check that off. And the part comes up like we want. The only problem with it is that it's the wrong type of material, so we'll edit that as well. Go back from making it look like a piece of steel by collapsing steel, come down here to woods and grab maple, hit apply and close. Oh, wait a second, we're going to make that oak, so hit apply and close. So there we have it. And our direction on our wood grain is going in the correct direction, horizontal, so that's good. Control B to rebuild, Control S to save. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and set ourselves normal to that face there. To select the face, and you come up here on your heads-up display, or you can right mouse click again and get it off the mouse menu. So with that done, we'll go ahead and we'll hit sketch, and this time instead of corner, we'll go to corner rectangle, and we'll come down here making sure that it says select the plane, so we'll go ahead and select that plane again. And we'll make sure that, as you can see, it highlights in the dotted orange line here, making sure not to hit that center point right there, so we'll come off of it a little bit, scroll out, and then scroll back into the area where we want to be, and again, making sure we don't hit that midpoint, so it sets up an unnecessary relationship. So we've done that. Go back to Smart Dimension, and we know that it's the slot we're going to cut for the floor is going to be 3/16 of an inch, which would be 0.1875, 3/16. And then we'll know that our slot we're cutting is going to be the girth or the width of the blade on our table saw, which will be 0.125, an eighth of an inch. Accept that. And now what we'll do is check that off. Go ahead and hit the F key to fit this. Use our arrow keys to rotate around. We'll roll up here using our zoom capability on our mouse, and we'll do Features, Extruded Cut. Now, on the Extruded Cut, because we had 1/4 of an inch last time, it goes ahead and thinks you're going to go 1/4 of an inch again. Well, easy thing to do there is just put a slash and a 2, which will divide that to 1/8 of an inch. So we've gone ahead, got that in there, and we've divided that to 1/8 of an inch. Now we'll hit the F key again and zoom out, do a Control 7 to set it to perspective view. In this case, it's going to be the isometric. And we'll go ahead and rebuild and save our file. And now what we need to do is to go ahead and put this part here in the assembly. So we'll come over here to the Table Napkin Box assembly, which I already had up. Click on it, and I'll transfer us over there. So I'll do a Control 7 here, zoom out a little bit so I have some working room to work with. I'll come over here to Assembly, make sure I click on the Insert Mates, and it's going to go find that last part we designed. So that's the Table Napkin Box back part. I'm going to come over here and just place it out here in space. And now that that's placed in space, what I'm going to do is rotate with my arrow keys up like this, scroll up here, select the bottom plane here on the bottom side there, because I want to make a mate where this part here, the one that's on the box, is on the same plane as the back part is. So I've done that. And now while I'm in this view, I'll go ahead and select this face on this left side of the box and select the outer edge of one of those fingers and click on it. Accept that. Go ahead and do a Control 7 to see it back in perspective. Looks pretty good. So now what I'll do is select this face here, rotate around, and select that face right there. and the part will come up and mate to that. So let's go ahead and do a Control 1 and see what our part looks like. Well, we've got a problem here. I think we missed a dimension. No problem. We can fix that. So this is a good opportunity to see a mistake and how you can go back and fix it. So with that said and done, we'll go back to Window and go back to our original part. I think I know which dimension we actually missed. Ah, yes. So we'll come back over here and we'll go back to the original sketch. We'll roll this up here and we'll go to this sketch and we'll edit that sketch. Now I'll go ahead and rotate this around so I can see it. So I'll go to the front view here, and we need to come in and put a dimension in. One we forgot, or I forgot. So I'll come up here and I'll click on this, and I'll scroll down here. Actually, I'm only going to get that one side, but since I'm there, I'll go ahead and work with that. I know the overall dimension is 6.9375. I'll just go ahead and put that divided by 2, and what that's going to do is adjust the actual overall dimension of the part. That's good. So we'll go ahead and check that off. We'll do a rebuild again, and we'll do a save, of course. Go ahead and do a Control 7. See that part in 3D. I'll just go ahead and save that one more time. Now what I'll do is come back over here to Window and go back to my Table Napkin Box assembly. It's asking me if I want to update that. Well, yeah, sure I did. So I'll go ahead and update that. And now you can see the corrected part that we went ahead and done. So that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and save our assembly right now. First, of course, rebuild, and then we hit save. And we'll save that. Okay, we're done for now. We'll come back and start working on the top of the lid.